The house was quiet, save for the soft ticking of the old grandfather clock in the corner. Its pendulum swung like a metronome, counting out the seconds of a life that had grown too heavy for Margaret and me. At 72, I thought I'd seen it all: war, recession, the slow erosion of time on our little farmstead, but nothing prepared me for the ache of betrayal. Our daughter, Emily, had always been a wild spirit, chasing dreams that flickered like fireflies, impossible to hold. But this was different. This cut deeper than anything. Margaret sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands trembling as she clutched a crumpled tissue. The lines on her face, etched by decades of laughter and tears, seemed deeper tonight. How could she do this? Henry, she whispered, her voice breaking. Our savings, everything we worked for. I didn't have an answer. The bank statement lay between us like a gravestone, the numbers screaming what we couldn't bear to say aloud. $47,000. Gone. Our life's work, siphoned away in secret withdrawals over months. Emily's name was tied to every transaction, her signature a knife in our backs. She'd taken it for him, Jason, her boyfriend, a man whose charm was as slick as oil and twice as dangerous. We'd known Jason was trouble from the start. He'd shown up 2 years ago, all smiles and promises, with a leather jacket that looked too expensive for his supposed freelance mechanic job. Emily, 34 and still searching for something to anchor her, fell hard. She'd always been impulsive, our girl, but this was reckless even for her. Margaret had tried to warn her. Late-night talks over tea that turned into pleas. I'd been sterner, telling her Jason's stories didn't add up as late-night jobs, the way he dodged questions about his past. But Emily wouldn't hear it. You don't understand love. She'd snapped at me once, her eyes flashing. Maybe I didn't, but I understood trust, and Jason had none of mine. The worst part wasn't the money. It was the why. Emily hadn't just taken our savings. She'd taken our future. The farm, our home for 40 years, was crumbling, leaky roof, sagging porch, a tractor that coughed more than it ran. That money was supposed to fix it, to keep us from losing the only place we'd ever called home. It was for hospital bills, for the days when our bodies would betray us. It was for Lily, our 11-year-old granddaughter, Emily's daughter, who deserved better than a mother who'd throw it all away for a man. Lily. Just thinking of her made my chest tighten. She was the light in this mess, the one thing Emily had done right. Small for her age, with her mother's dark curls and my stubborn streak, Lily had a way of seeing through people. She'd never liked Jason, always watching him with those sharp, quiet eyes of hers. He's too shiny, she'd said once, wrinkling her nose. I hadn't known what she meant then, but I did now. Jason was all surface, no substance, and he dragged Emily down with him. That night, as Margaret and I sat in the ruins of our trust, Lily slipped into the kitchen. She was in her pajamas, a faded unicorn shirt that was a size too small, her bare feet silent on the linoleum. Grandpa, Grandma, why are you sad? She asked, her voice soft but steady. She climbed onto a chair, her small hands folding neatly in her lap, waiting for an answer. I hesitated. How do you tell a child her mother stole from her own parents? But Lily's gaze held mine, and I saw something there: strength. Maybe. Or a spark of something fierce. So I told her, gently, the truth. The savings. Emily's betrayal. Jason's shadow over it all. Margaret reached for Lily's hand, but Lily didn't cry. She just listened, her lips pressed tight, her eyes narrowing like she was solving a puzzle. She shouldn't have done that, Lily said finally, her voice small but firm. It's not fair. No, sweetheart, Margaret said, her voice thick. It's not. Lily looked at us, then at the bank statement, her brow furrowing. Can we get it back? She asked. I sighed. It's not that simple. Lily, the money's gone. We'd have to find Emily. And even then. But Lily wasn't listening. She slid off the chair and padded to the living room, returning with her notebook, a battered thing she carried everywhere, filled with drawings and lists and secrets only an 11-year-old could keep. She flipped it open, her pencil moving fast. We need a plan, she said, her voice carrying a determination that made my heart ache and swell at the same time. Margaret and I exchanged a glance. A plan. From a child. But there was something in Lily's focus. The way her pencil scratched across the page. That made me wonder. Maybe she saw something we didn't. Maybe. In her small, fierce heart, she held the key to fixing this. That night, as Lily scribbled and Margaret wept, I felt the first flicker of hope. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep me going. Emily had broken us. But Lily, our brilliant, brave Lily, might just save us. Lily's notebook became our lifeline. By morning, she'd filled pages with notes, her handwriting a mix of careful loops and hurried scrawls. She sat at the kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the window, catching the dust motes that danced around her. Margaret poured her a glass of orange juice, but Lily barely noticed, her eyes glued to her work. We need to find Mom, she said, not looking up. And Jason. They can't just disappear. I wanted to tell her it was hopeless. Emily hadn't answered our calls in weeks, her phone going straight to voicemail. The last we'd heard, she and Jason were in the city, chasing some vague dream of starting over. But Lily's determination was infectious, like a spark catching on dry wood. Okay, I said, leaning over her shoulder. What's your plan? She pointed to a list labeled clues. It was meticulous for an 11-year-old, places Emily liked to go, things Jason had said, even a doodle of his car, a flashy red Mustang that screamed trouble. Mom always posts on Instagram, Lily said. Even when she's mad at you, she posts. We can check there. Margaret frowned. Sweetheart, we don't have Instagram. And your mother, she doesn't want us finding her. Lily's eyes flashed. She doesn't get to decide that. She took our money. We're getting it back. I couldn't help but smile. There was Emily's fire in her, but tempered with something stronger purpose. I pulled out my old laptop, its fan wheezing like it was on its last legs, and we set to work. Lily guided us through creating an Instagram account, her small fingers flying over the keys. She searched for Emily's profile, and there it was, a string of photos, all bright filters and forced smiles. Emily at a bar, Jason's arm around her. Emily at a beach, her hair blowing in the wind. No captions, just hashtags, new life, love wins. See, Lily said, pointing. She's not hiding. She's showing off. Margaret's face tightened. That's our money she's spending. Lily scrolled further, her brow furrowing. Wait, she said, pausing on a photo of Jason's car parked outside a diner. The timestamp was yesterday. That's the diner on Route 17. I know it. Mom took me there once. I leaned closer. The diner was an hour's drive. A greasy spoon we'd passed 100 times. Could it be that simple? Lily, are you sure? I asked. She nodded, already scribbling in her notebook. We should go there. Today? Margaret hesitated. Henry, we can't just drive out and confront them. What if they're dangerous? I understood her fear. Jason wasn't just a con man. He had a temper. One we'd seen flare when Emily tried to pull away from him once. But looking at Lily, her jaw set, her eyes blazing, I felt a surge of courage. We won't confront them, I said. We'll watch. Gather information. Like Lily's doing. Lily grinned, a rare flash of joy in her serious face. Like detectives, she said. By noon, we were in my old pickup. Lily buckled in the back, her notebook open on her lap. Margaret clutched her purse, her knuckles white. The drive was quiet, the weight of what we were doing pressing down on us. What would we say if we found Emily? Could we even face her? After what she'd done. The diner was exactly as I remembered, faded red booths. Neon signs flickering in the windows. We parked across the street, far enough to stay unnoticed. Lily scanned the lot, her eyes sharp. There, she whispered, pointing to the red Mustang gleaming in the afternoon sun. My heart sank. They were here. I glanced at Margaret, who looked like she might be sick. What now? She asked. Lily didn't hesitate. We wait. We watch. We learn. So we did. For hours. We sat in the truck, Lily jotting notes every time someone came or went. She noticed things I didn't. Jason's swagger as he stepped out for a cigarette. The way Emily lingered by the window. Her face tired. Almost sad. She's not happy, Lily said quietly. She's pretending. I wanted to believe her. To think Emily regretted what she'd done. But regret wouldn't bring our money back. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in shades of orange, Jason and Emily emerged, his arms slung possessively over her shoulders. They climbed into the Mustang and sped off. Lily wrote down the license plate. We'll need that, she said, her voice steady. For the police. Margaret's eyes widened. The police. Lily. We can't. Why not? Lily cut in. She stole from us. That's a crime. I looked at my granddaughter. This fierce, brilliant girl who saw the world so clearly. She was right. But the thought of turning Emily in twisted my gut. She was our daughter. Our flesh and blood. Yet Lily, her own child, was ready to fight for justice, no matter the cost. As we drove home, the stars beginning to prick the sky, I realized something. Lily wasn't just saving our money. She was saving us, Margaret. Me. Even Emily from the weight of this betrayal. And I'd follow her lead, no matter where it took us. Back home, the weight of the day settled over us like dust. Margaret busied herself in the kitchen, making tea no one would drink, while I stared at the bank statement still lying on the table. Lily, though, was relentless. She sat cross-legged on the living room floor, her notebook open, a map of the county spread out beside her. They're not staying at the diner, she said, tapping a pencil against her lips. They're moving around. We need to figure out where they go next. I marveled at her. At 11, she had a mind sharper than most adults I knew. How do you propose we do that, detective? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. She didn't smile. Mom's phone. She's always on it. If we can get into her account, we might see where she's checking in, or what she's saying to Jason. Margaret set a mug down with a clink. Lily, that's not right. Hacking into your mother's phone. It's an invasion of privacy. Lily looked up, her eyes fierce. She invaded our privacy when she took our money. Grandma. She doesn't get to hide. I saw Margaret flinch, but she didn't argue. Lily was right, and we all knew it. Still, the idea of snooping through Emily's life felt wrong, like crossing a line we couldn't uncross. But Lily was already moving, pulling the laptop closer. "I know Mom's passwords," she said quietly. "She uses the same ones for everything. My birthday, or her old dog's name." I raised an eyebrow. "How do you know that?" She shrugged, a flicker of guilt crossing her face. "I watch her. She's not as careful as she thinks." It took less than 10 minutes. Lily logged into Emily's iCloud, her fingers steady as she typed. Margaret hovered behind us, wringing her hands. But she didn't stop us. The screen lit up with Emily's recent activity photos, messages, locations. Lily clicked on the Find My app, and a map appeared, a blinking dot marking a spot in the city, 50 miles away. A motel, cheap and nondescript. "They're there," Lily said, pointing. "Right now?" My stomach churned. The thought of Emily in some rundown motel with Jason, spending our money on God knows what, made me want to punch something. But Lily was calm, methodical, already copying the address into her notebook. "We can't go tonight," she said. "It's too far, and Grandpa's tired. But tomorrow, we'll find them." I wasn't tired. Not really. But I let her take charge. She was the one keeping us grounded, her clarity cutting through our fog of hurt. That night, as Margaret and I lay in bed, the silence between us was heavy. "She's so young," Margaret whispered. "How does she know what to do?" "She's Lily," I said simply. "She's always been like this, seeing things we miss." The next morning, we were back in the truck, Lily's notebook our guide. The motel was grim, its neon sign flickering vacancy like a taunt. We parked a block away, watching. Lily had her binoculars, cheap things she'd gotten for birdwatching, and she scanned the lot. "Room 14, she said, pointing to a door where Jason's Mustang was parked. We waited. Hours passed, the summer heat creeping into the truck. Margaret fanned herself with a magazine, her face pale. I kept my eyes on the motel, my mind racing. What would I say to Emily? Could I even look at her without seeing the betrayal? Then, movement. Emily stepped out, her hair pulled back, her face drawn. She looked broken. Not the vibrant girl I'd raised, but a shadow of her. Jason followed, his voice loud, gesturing wildly. They were arguing. Lily leaned forward, her binoculars trained on them. "He's mad," she whispered. "Mom's not listening to him." I could see it to Emily's slumped shoulders, the way she turned away from him. Something was wrong, more than just an argument. "Lily," I said, "write down everything you see. Every detail." She nodded, her pencil flying. Jason stormed back into the room, slamming the door. Emily stayed outside, sitting on the curb, her head in her hands. For a moment, I wanted to go to her, to ask why she'd done this. But Lily's hand on my arm stopped me. "Not yet," she said. "We need more." She was right. We needed proof, something solid to take to the police. So we watched, and Lily documented times, descriptions, even the way Jason's car had a new dent on the hood. When they finally drove off, Lily marked the time, 3:47 p.m. "They'll be back," she said. "This is their base." On the drive home, Lily was quiet, her notebook closed. I thought she was tired, but when we pulled into the driveway, she turned to me. "Grandpa, Mom's scared of him." I could see it. Margaret's breath caught. "Scared? Lily, are you sure?" Lily nodded. "She's not herself. It's like she's stuck." The words hung in the air, heavy with truth. Emily wasn't just reckless. She was trapped, and Jason was the cage. For the first time, I felt a flicker of pity for my daughter, buried beneath the anger. But Lily's eyes were hard, her resolve unbroken. "We're going to help her," she said, "and we're getting our money back." That night, I couldn't sleep. Lily's words echoed in my mind. Help her. Save her. Save us all. My 11-year-old granddaughter was leading us into battle, and I'd never been prouder or more afraid. Lily's plan grew sharper with each passing day. She'd turned her notebook into a command center, pages filled with timelines, maps, and theories. She'd even drawn a sketch of Jason's Mustang, noting every scratch and dent. Evidence, she called it, her voice carrying a weight that made her sound older than her years. Margaret and I followed her lead, though doubt gnawed at me. Could we really outsmart a man like Jason? Could we bring Emily back from whatever hold he had on her? By the third day, Lily had a new idea. "We need to talk to someone who knows Jason," she said, her eyes scanning her notes. "Someone who's seen him up close. Not just Mom." I frowned. "Like who?" "We don't know his friends." Lily tapped her pencil on the page. "The diner. The waitress there, she was watching them. I saw her. She looked suspicious." Margaret raised an eyebrow. "Lily, that's a stretch. She's just a waitress." But Lily shook her head. "She knows something. I could tell. We should go back." So we did. The diner was busier this time, the lunch rush filling the booths with truckers and locals. Lily led the way, her notebook tucked under her arm like a detective's badge. The waitress, a woman in her 50s with tired eyes and a name tag reading Doris, recognized us. "Back again," she said, pouring coffee with a practiced hand. Lily didn't waste time. "Do you know the guy with the red Mustang?" she asked, her voice direct. Doris's smile faltered. "You mean Jason?" "Yeah, he's been in here a lot. With that girl, Emily." I leaned forward, my heart pounding. "What do you know about him?" Doris glanced around, then lowered her voice. "He's trouble. Owes money all over town. I've heard him bragging about some big score, but he's cagey about it. Never pays his tab, either." Lily's eyes lit up. "Did he say where he's staying? Or what he's doing with the money?" Doris hesitated, then sighed. "Look, kid, I don't get involved. But I heard him mention a place in the Sitya bar called the Rusty Anchor. He's there most nights." Lily scribbled the name in her notebook, her face glowing with purpose. I slipped Doris a 20, more than her tip would have been. "Thank you," I said. "This means a lot." Back in the truck, Lily was already planning. "The Rusty Anchor's in the city, near the motel. We can go tonight. See if he's there." Margaret's face paled. "Lily, a bar. That's no place for a child." "I won't go inside," Lily said. "I'll stay in the truck with you. Grandpa can check it out." I didn't like it, but Lily's logic was sound. If Jason was at this bar, we might learn more, maybe even find out what he'd done with our money. So that evening, we drove back to the city, the skyline looming like a warning. The Rusty Anchor was a dive, its windows grimy, its sign flickering. I parked across the street, my hands tight on the wheel. "Stay here," I told Lily and Margaret. "Keep the doors locked." Inside, the bar smelled of stale beer and regret. Jason was there, leaning against the counter, laughing with a man who looked just as shady. I kept my distance, nursing a soda at a corner table, my hat pulled low. Jason was loud, his voice carrying over the jukebox. Big plans. Man, he was saying. Got the cash. Got the girl. We're out of here soon. My blood boiled. Our cash. Our daughter. But I stayed calm. Listening. Memorizing every word. He mentioned a storage unit. Something about keeping it safe until they could move it. I didn't know what it meant, but it was a lead. When I got back to the truck, Lily was waiting, her eyes wide. What did you hear? She asked. I told her everything, watching her scribble it down. A storage unit, she said, circling the words. That's where the money is. Or something valuable. Margaret shook her head. This is getting dangerous. Henry, we should go to the police. But Lily's voice cut through. Not yet. We need proof. If we tell the police now, Jason might hide everything, and Mom will get in trouble. I looked at my granddaughter, her small face set with determination. She was right again. We needed something concrete, documents, receipts, anything to tie Jason to the theft. And maybe, just maybe, to free Emily from his grip. The next day, Lily found the storage facility online, cross-referencing the motel's address with local listings. There's only one place nearby, she said, pointing to a name, SafeLock Storage. We should check it out. So we went. The three of us. A makeshift detective team led by an 11-year-old. The facility was gated, but Lily noticed a security camera. If we can get the footage, she said, we might see Jason going in. I didn't know how we'd manage that, but Lily's confidence kept me going. She was outsmarting us all, piecing together a puzzle we'd been too broken to solve. As we drove home, I felt a strange mix of pride and fear. Lily was our hope, but she was also a child, carrying a burden no one her age should bear. SafeLock Storage was a fortress of corrugated metal and padlocks, its gates gleaming under the midday sun. Lily sat in the back of the truck, her notebook open, sketching a layout of the facility from memory. The camera's at the entrance, she said, pointing to her drawing. If Jason's been here, it'll show him. I admired her focus, but the practical side of me balked. Lily, we can't just ask for security footage. They won't give it to us without a warrant. She didn't flinch. We don't need to ask. We can watch the gate, see if he shows up. Or, she paused, her eyes narrowing. We can talk to the manager. Say we're looking for a lost item. People trust kids. Margaret shot me a look, half exasperated, half impressed. She's too smart for her own good, she muttered. But Lily's idea wasn't bad. So we parked near the entrance, close enough to see the gate, but far enough to blend in. Lily coached me on what to say, her voice steady. Tell them you're looking for something Emily might have left. Be vague but sad. People feel sorry for old people. I snorted. Thanks, kid. Inside the office, the manager, a gruff man named Carl, eyed me skeptically. I spun the story Lily had crafted. My daughter had rented a unit. Might have left something important. Could he check the records? Carl grunted but pulled up a log. Name? He asked. Emily Carter. I said, my heart pounding. He scrolled, then nodded. Yeah. She rented a unit last month. Number 47. Paid in cash. Cash. Our cash. I forced my voice to stay calm. Can I see it? Just to check for her things. Carl shook his head. Need her ID or a key? Sorry, pal. I left with nothing but confirmation that Emily was involved. Back in the truck, Lily's eyes lit up when I told her. Unit 47, she said, writing it down. That's where the money is. Or something he's hiding. Margaret frowned. We can't break in. Lily. That's illegal. Lily's jaw tightened. We're not breaking in. We're gathering evidence. If we can prove Jason's using that unit, the police will have to check it. Her logic was airtight, but it scared me. She was so young, yet so ready to dive into this mess. I wondered what it was costing her. This weight she carried for us. But she didn't waver, already planning our next move. We need to watch the unit, she said. See when he goes in. So we did. For 2 days, we staked out the storage facility, taking shifts to avoid suspicion. Lily was relentless, noting every car, every person. On the second evening, Jason's Mustang rolled up. My heart raced as he punched a code into the gate and drove through. Lily grabbed her binoculars, tracking him to Unit 47. He opened the door, slipped inside, and emerged 10 minutes later, carrying a duffel bag. That's it, Lily whispered. That's our money. I wanted to follow him, but Lily stopped me. We need the police now, she said. We have the unit number, the car, the timestamps. It's enough. Margaret's voice trembled. What about Emily? If we turn him in, she'll go down with him. Lily's face softened, the first crack in her resolve. Mom made a mistake, but she's still Mom. We'll help her. Grandma. I promise. That night, we went to the police station. Lily insisted on coming, her notebook clutched like a shield. The officer, a kind woman named Detective Harris, listened as I explained the theft, the bank statements, the storage unit. Lily handed over her notebook, pages of meticulous notes and sketches. Harris raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. You did all this? She asked Lily. Lily nodded. It's for my grandparents. And my mom. Harris promised to look into it, but warned it could take time. As we left, Lily's shoulders slumped, the weight of waiting settling in. I put my arm around her. You did good, kid, I said. Better than good. Back home, the house felt differentless, like a tomb. More like a battlefield where we'd won a small victory. Lily sat at the kitchen table, her notebook open, but she wasn't writing. She was staring at a photo of Emily, one we kept on the fridge. Do you think she'll hate me? She asked, her voice small. Margaret knelt beside her, tears in her eyes. No, sweetheart. She'll see you saved her, just like you're saving us. Lily nodded, but I saw the doubt in her eyes. She was brave, but she was still a child, carrying a love for her mother that no betrayal could break. As I watched her, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened next, Lily would lead us through it. The waiting was the hardest part. Days stretched into a week, each one heavier than the last. Detective Harris called with updates, but they were vague, investigating the storage unit, tracking Jason's movements, trying to locate Emily. Lily kept her notebook close, adding notes whenever Harris shared something new. But I could see the strain in her. She was still our leader, but the spark in her eyes dimmed, replaced by a quiet worry. Margaret and I tried to keep things normal, if such a thing existed anymore. We made pancakes, played cards, fixed the porch step that had been wobbly for years. But the house felt hollow, the absence of our savings and Emily like a ghost. Lily, though, never stopped. She'd taken to checking Emily's Instagram daily, noting new posts, new locations. She's still with him, she said one morning, her voice tight. But she's not smiling anymore. I looked at the photo she showed me, Emily at a gas station, her eyes distant, Jason in the background, his hand on her arm. It wasn't affection. It was control. My anger flared. But so did my fear. What had we lost our daughter to? Then, on the 8th day, Harris called. "We've got something," she said. The storage units registered to Jason, not Emily. We found receipts inside purchases, withdrawals, all tied to his name. "Your money's been funneled through a fake account." I gripped the phone, my heart racing. "And Emily?" Harris hesitated. "She's with him, but we think she's unaware of the full extent. We're bringing them both in for questioning today." I told Lily and Margaret, watching their faces shift hope, fear, relief, all tangled together. Lily closed her notebook, her hand steady. "We should be there," she said, "when they bring Mom in." Margaret shook her head. "No, sweetheart. That's too much for you." But Lily's eyes were fierce. "She's my mom. I need to see her." I didn't argue. Lily had earned her place in this fight. So we drove to the station, the three of us silent, the weight of what was coming pressing down. When we arrived, Harris met us in the waiting area, her face kind but firm. "Emily's in there now," she said. "Jason too. We're talking to them separately." Lily's voice was small but steady. "Can I see her?" Harris hesitated, then nodded. "Just you, kid. And only for a minute." She led Lily to a small room with a one-way window. Margaret and I watched from the other side, our hearts in our throats. Emily sat at a table, her hair messy, her face pale. She looked like a stranger, but also like the girl who'd once run through our fields, laughing. Lily stood tall, her hands clasped in front of her. "Mom," Lily said, her voice clear through the speaker. "Why did you do it?" Emily's head snapped up, her eyes wide. "Lily. Oh, God. Lily." She started to cry, her hands covering her face. "I didn't mean for this. I thought he loved me." Lily didn't move. "You took Grandma and Grandpa's money. You hurt them." Emily sobbed, her words tumbling out. "I know. I'm so sorry. Jason said it was for us. For a new life. I didn't know he was lying." Lily's voice softened, but only slightly. "You should have known. You're my mom. You're supposed to be better." I felt Margaret's hand tighten on mine, tears streaming down her face. Lily was saying what we couldn't, her words cutting through years of pain. Emily reached out, but Lily stepped back. "We're going to fix this," Lily said. "But you have to help the police. Tell them everything." Emily nodded, her sobs quieting. "I will. I promise. Lily." Harris gently led Lily out, and we enveloped her in a hug. She didn't cry, but her small body trembled. "She's sorry," she whispered. "But she's still wrong." That evening, Harris gave us more. Jason had been running a scam, using Emily to access our account while funneling the money into offshore accounts. Emily's role was smaller than we'd feared. She'd been manipulated, not malicious. The police were working to recover what they could, but it would take time. Lily listened, her face unreadable. When Harris left, she opened her notebook and crossed out, "Find Mom." "One step down," she said. "Now we get the money back." Margaret pulled her close. "You've done enough, sweetheart. Let the police handle it now." But Lily shook her head. "Not yet. We started this together. We finish it together." I looked at my granddaughter, this fierce, brilliant child who'd carried us through the darkest days. She was right. We were a team, bound by love and loss. And we'd see this through no matter what. The weeks that followed were a blur of paperwork and waiting. Detective Harris became a regular voice on the phone, updating us on the case. Jason was charged with fraud and theft, his charm crumbling under the weight of evidence, much of it thanks to Lily's meticulous notes. Emily, though complicit, was cooperating, her statements painting a picture of a woman ensnared by promises of love. The police were optimistic about recovering at least part of our savings. But the process was slow, each day a reminder of what we'd lost. Lily, though, never faltered. She'd taken to visiting the station with us, sitting quietly as Harris explained legal terms she shouldn't have had to understand. At home, she kept her notebook updated, tracking every call, every lead. "We're close," she'd say, her voice steady, though I saw the shadows under her eyes. She was 11, but she carried the weight of an adult. Margaret and I tried to shield her, insisting she play outside or read her favorite books. But Lily would shake her head, her curls bouncing. "This is important," she'd say, and I couldn't argue. She'd become our anchor, the one holding us together when grief and anger threatened to pull us apart. One afternoon, Emily called. Margaret answered, her face tightening as she handed me the phone. "She wants to talk to you," she said. Her voice clipped. I took a deep breath. "Emily." "Dad," she said, her voice small, broken. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I wanted to yell, to demand why she'd trusted Jason over us, why she'd thrown away our future. But Lily was watching, her eyes steady, and I remembered her words, "We're going to help her." So I softened my tone. "We're working on it, Emily. Lily's been incredible." There was a pause, then a sob. "She's always been better than me. Please, Dad, tell her I love her." I glanced at Lily, who was pretending not to listen, her pencil scratching in her notebook. "She knows," I said. "But you need to show her. Emily. Help the police. Make this right." "I will," she promised. And for the first time, I believed her. After the call, Lily looked up. "Is she coming home?" I hesitated. "Not yet, sweetheart. She's got to face what she did. But she's trying." Lily nodded, her face unreadable. "Good." That evening, Harris called with news. They'd recovered $30,000 from one of Jason's accounts. It wasn't everything, but it was enough to fix the roof, to keep the farm for another year. Margaret cried, relief washing over her. But Lily just wrote it down, her expression focused. "We need the rest," she said. "And we need Mom back." Her words hit me hard. She wasn't just fighting for the money. She was fighting for her mother, for the family we'd been before Jason tore it apart. I pulled her into a hug, feeling her small frame against mine. "We'll get there," I said. "Together." The next day, we visited Emily at the station. She was in a holding area, her eyes red but clear. Lily walked in first, her notebook tucked away, her hands clasped tightly. "Mom," she said, her voice steady but soft. "You need to come home." Emily's face crumpled, tears spilling over. "Lily, I'm trying. I messed up so bad, but I'm trying." Lily stepped closer, her voice fierce. "Then keep trying. For me. For Grandma and Grandpa." Emily nodded, reaching for Lily's hand. This time, Lily let her take it. Margaret and I stood back, watching our daughter and granddaughter, broken but mending. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. As we left, Lily opened her notebook, flipping to a new page. "What's next?" I asked. She looked up, her eyes bright with purpose. "We make sure Jason can't hurt anyone else. And we rebuild." Rebuild. The word felt like a promise, one we'd keep together. Lily had outsmarted Jason, outworked us all. But more than that, she'd reminded us what family meant. We weren't whole yet, but with her leading the way, I knew we'd get there. The farm felt alive again, as if Lily's determination had breathed new air into its weary bones. The recovered $30,000 sat in a new account, untouchable this time, earmarked for the roof and a new tractor. It wasn't everything, but it was enough to hold the bank at bay, to keep our home. Margaret smiled more, her hands steady as she planted marigolds along the porch. I spent mornings fixing fences, the ache in my joints lighter knowing we had a future here. Lily, though, wasn't done. She sat at the kitchen table each evening, her notebook a constant companion. She'd added a new section, fixing the family. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about Emily, about healing the wounds she'd left behind. "Mom's coming home soon," Lily said one night, her voice certain. "We need to be ready." Emily had been released on probation, her cooperation with the police earning her leniency. She'd agreed to testify against Jason, whose trial loomed like a storm on the horizon. The police had frozen more of his accounts, and Harris was hopeful we'd recover another $10,000. It wasn't guaranteed, but it was progress, and Lily tracked every step. When Emily arrived, it was a quiet moment, not the dramatic reunion I'd imagined. She stood on the porch, her suitcase small, her face lined with shame. Lily opened the door, her expression unreadable. "Hi, Mom," she said, stepping aside. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Lily, I don't know how to make this right." Lily didn't soften, but she didn't turn away. "Start by being here," she said, "and don't lie to us again." Margaret and I watched, our hearts caught between love and caution. Emily moved back into her old room, the one she'd grown up in, its walls still papered with faded flowers. She was different, quieter, humbler, her bravado stripped away. She spent her days helping around the farm, her hands relearning the work she'd once scoffed at. She and Lily talked, small conversations at first, about school or the weather, but each one a step toward something better. One evening, as the sun set, painting the fields gold, Lily and Emily sat on the porch swing. I watched from the kitchen, Margaret's hand in mine. Lily was showing Emily her notebook, pointing to the pages of plans and evidence. "You did this?" Emily asked, her voice thick with awe. Lily nodded. "For Grandma and Grandpa. For you." Emily pulled her close, tears streaming down her face. "I don't deserve you," she whispered. Lily hugged her back, her small arms fierce. "You're my mom. That's enough." The trial came and went, a blur of legal terms and Jason's smug face on the news. He was convicted, sentenced to 7 years, the judge citing Lily's evidence as instrumental. The remaining $10,000 was returned, and with it, we paid off the last of the farm's debts. The house stood stronger, its roof patched, its heart mending. Lily closed her notebook one night, setting it on the shelf. "We're done," she said, a small smile breaking through. "We fixed it." Margaret laughed, pulling her into a hug. "You fixed it, sweetheart. You fixed us." I looked at my family, Margaret, her hands calloused but warm. Emily, finding her way back. Lily, our brilliant, Brave girl. The betrayal had scarred us, but it hadn't broken us. Lily had seen to that, her courage a light we'd followed through the dark. As we sat together, the grandfather clock ticking softly, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The farm was ours again, not just in deed but in spirit. Emily was home, not whole but healing. And Lily, our 11-year-old hero, had outsmarted them all, not just Jason, but the pain that had threatened to tear us apart. We weren't the same family we'd been. We were stronger, bound by a love that had been tested and proven. And as Lily leaned against me, her head on my shoulder, I knew we'd face whatever came next. Together.